Hi family, really nice to spend some time with you again tonight. We're getting pretty close to the end of this series, the No Matter What series. And Norm's assigned me a few verses tonight to just share some thoughts about. So the verses we're looking at tonight are Philippians 4, verses 8 to 9. So let's start with prayer and then let me read it for you. Hey God, thanks for another great day. Thanks for the opportunity to learn from other people's experiences and the words of Paul. Just ask you to be with us tonight and help us to learn more about you and how we can best live our lives. We love you. Amen. Yeah, so let me read you the text that's that we're looking at tonight. Philippians 4, 8 to 9. Finally, brothers and sisters, whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is admirable, if anything is excellent or praiseworthy, think about such things. Whatever you have learned or received or heard from me or seen in me, put it into practice, and the God of peace will be with you. I love that verse. Obviously, we've heard a lot of times before, and the thing I love about it is this whole idea of putting it into practice. As most of you know, my job is a teacher educator. And the classes I love the most are those where I'm actually getting my students to do. I'm a bit tired of telling the students about my experiences or about the theories that mean something to me. I love when I can actually get them involved in experiences. And I think that's what Paul's suggesting we try to do in these verses here. And I want to try to illustrate something through some illusions. So I'm going to throw some illusions up on the screen, and I want to see, what you see when you look at these pictures. So the first picture I'm going to show is right here. It's a picture of some lines, some white lines. And I want you to just experiment by changing your focus. Do you see black dots appear at the intersections, or do you see white dots? So have a good look at those grids and see if you can see black dots or white dots. I think what you'll actually find is you can probably see both depending on what you're actually focused on there. So try the next one out. This is a picture of some dogs. And I want you to just, by looking at different parts of this paint, of this drawing, are the dogs white or are they black? Once again, I think you'll see there that you can see white dogs when you actually look at the white sections, or if you actually look at the black sections, you can actually start to see the black dogs emerge. And sometimes it's hard to change your focus. Once you see the black dogs, it's hard to then to see the white dogs again. This one's a pretty common one, but I really love it. When you first see this, are you actually looking at an old lady with quite a large nose, or you're looking at a young lady with quite defined cheekbones? See if you can see both. See if you can see the old lady with a large nose and also see the young lady. If you haven't been able to see the young lady yet, she's got a really defined cheekbone, which is the older lady's large nose. Or if you haven't seen the older lady, then if you look at the young lady's cheekbones and imagine that's the nose, you might be able to see it. And this is one that I find really hard to switch between. If I'm focused on that older lady, I find it hard to actually then re-identify the young lady. Or if I first see the young lady, I find it hard to see the opposite. Hey, check out this next one. What I want you to try to do here is to try to see the faces looking two different directions. Is the man looking at you straight on? If so, see if you can see him from the sideways. See if you can actually alternate the man looking straight forward or to the side. And the last one I want you to look at is this one here. It's a cat climbing either up or down stairs. See if you can actually change whether the cat's going up the stairs or down the stairs. Yeah, so that was hopefully a little bit of fun. And the whole idea I wanted to start with that is to actually prove the point that you can actually change what you see. You can change what you see by actually what you're focused on. And I think that might be what Paul's actually saying in this verse when we read it before. As soon as I read this verse, for anyone that's done the Lift project, straight away I'm going to give a big shout out to Darren, because one of his strategies just popped straight into my mind. And it almost seemed like there was some plagiarism going on there, Darren. Because I know your lift project quite well, I was starting to think Paul may have plagiarized from you. But for those who've done the lift project, and if you haven't, the good news is apparently it's coming to Lake Macquarie region for free, so get your friends on that for sure. But one of the strategies there is look to the positive. Look to the positive. Feelings follow your focus. And Paul's verse here is he's saying exactly that. And in Darren's lift project, Darren actually suggests that there's 3 questions that you can actually reflect on to lift your mood and to focus on the positive. And those 3 questions are, what am I grateful for in my past? The second one is, what am I thankful for in my present? And the third one is, what am I hopeful for in the future? And when I think of those 3 questions, I think there's a real spiritual application to those 3 questions too. The first one, what am I grateful for in my past? I love the quote, which is actually in Life Sketches by Ellen White. And let me read it to you. What she says is, we have nothing to fear for the future, except if we forget the way the Lord has led us and his teachings in our past history. So what she's saying is that we have nothing to fear about the future if we remember how God has led us in the past. And I think this is one thing that Paul's suggesting here is focus on the way that God's actually blessed our past. And that should take away any anxiety for our future. The second question that Darren suggests we actually reflect on to change our focus is, what am I thankful in my present? And I think straight away there are 1 Thessalonians 5:18, where it says, give thanks in all circumstances. And I think sometimes we're so regretful, or we focus too much on our regrets of our past, or we spend too much time worrying about what we might be anxious of in the future. And what that does is it misses out on the opportunity that we have right now to be thankful and to notice things that are going well in our lives. Sometimes when I go for a run in the morning, the world's sort of buzzing past me and I don't really focus, but then I stop at the end of the run and I actually take time to be mindful of where I am at that point. I notice the green leaves. I notice the mist on the freshly cut grass, and I actually am in the moment. And there's this real powerful switch that happens from being concerned or not noticing or being so frantic to actually being mindful of things that are in my present. So I think that's really important that we can do in our lives too. And the last one is, what am I hopeful for in my future? For those that have kids, if they're like mine, the first time you watch a movie with your kids, it's a really stressful time if they've never seen it before. My kids run around just frantically when they don't know how things are going to end because they're so nervous about what's happening in the movie. But once they've actually seen the ending, then the second time you watch a movie with your kids, it might be the most tame movie ever, but the second time you actually watch a movie with your kids, it's just so much more relaxing. They're actually enjoying it. They're laughing at the funny bits. They're not too stressed out during the times where there's a little bit of challenge going on with the main characters. And the reason that there's this change in their disposition is that they know how the movie ends. And I think there's some really cool spiritual applications to that scenario too. As Christians, we actually know how the movie ends. And sometimes there's so much going on in our worlds currently where there's so much stress and so much anxiety. But when we remind ourselves that we know how the movie ends, or how this world ends, and we know how good God is, a lot of that suddenly dissipates and we can actually start to enjoy the present. So listen, I love doing things. That's all I wanted to share with you tonight, but I actually wanted to do something with you now. I wanted for us to actually pause together and for each of us on our own to actually pause and reflect on those 3 questions. So the first one is, what am I grateful for in my past? So I would love you to think right now, take 30 seconds to think about something that you're grateful for in your past. Yeah, I hope you've been able to think of something that you're grateful for. I hope you've been able to articulate it. For me, I'm really thankful for my family. I'm thankful for my friends. I'm thankful for the community that God surrounded me with. And I'm also really thankful that God has always prepared me for the next step. Sometimes when you're in the moment, you don't really know what God's doing, but then you come to the next challenge. And what I'm really grateful for is that God has actually prepared me without me even knowing for the next thing he's carved out for me. So yeah, let's try the second question. Second question is, what are you thankful for in your present? Great, thanks for doing that. Last question, what is one thing in the future that you're hopeful for? Great. Hope you've been able to think of one there and share it. I'm going to wrap it up here. I just want to remind you that not only by focusing on the positive things in our life can we actually change the way we feel and the way that we actually live our lives, we can actually have the ability to help others focus on the positive things in their life too. And as Christians, obviously, in terms of hopeful things for the future, we know that we serve a God that loves us beyond doubt, and that we know that he's coming back to take us home to be with him. So as you go about this week, get in a daily habit of thinking of these three things, thinking of the things that are praiseworthy, thinking of the things that are good, thinking of the things that are excellent, and actually carving time out of your day, each day this week, to actually think of things that we're grateful in our past, our present, and our future, and find ways to actually help others focus on those positive things as well. So yeah, thanks for spending some time with me tonight, and I hope you have a great rest of the evening. Thanks.